Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you were looking for a story about someone standing on business, I got you covered. This story comes from username additionaldoor3206 and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for kicking out my girlfriend and her son after she invited her ex into our home?" Throwaway account: me, 35M, and my GF, Sarah, 35F, have been together for 4 years. She has a son, Nathan, 9M, with her ex, Mark, 36M. She has full custody of Nathan, with her ex having scheduled visitations one weekend of every month. Sarah and Nathan moved in with me a little over a year and a half ago, and in my perspective, it was a little rocky at first. I've always been pretty protective of my space, so making room for 2 other people was difficult for me. When Sarah moved in with me, we agreed that the visitations for Mark would be held in our apartment as long as I'm home. The main reason I wanted this is because I don't know Mark that well and I don't want him wandering around our apartment without me there. When we proposed this idea to Mark, he was fine with it. Now, moving on to the real issue. 3 weeks ago marked 4 months since Mark's last visit, so I had asked Sarah when he was planning on visiting Nathan. My GF replied, shrugging her shoulders and telling me she'd ask. She never followed up with it, so a few days ago I asked when Mark's next visit was and Sarah said she'd tell me when she knew. Nathan was in the living room but had apparently overheard us and shouted something along the lines of, "Dad was here last weekend, remember?" Sarah's face immediately dropped, and when I asked what Nathan meant, she wouldn't give me a direct answer. Eventually, she ended up telling me that for the past 2 visits, Mark had been to our apartment when I was working. When I accused her of going back on our agreement, she kept telling me this was her home too and she could invite whoever she wanted and that it was fine because she was here and watching. I told her that was besides the point and she violated my trust. It blew up into a huge argument, which ended in me telling her to get out of my apartment. She packed up and left with Nathan. Last I heard, she was staying with her parents. I've gotten several messages from both Sarah and her parents calling me an a-hole for kicking Sarah and Nathan out of their home for something so small. She's even been blasting me on Instagram and Facebook about how horrible I am to do this to her. It's got me thinking, I might be the a-hole, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Am I the a-hole? Edit to add, I can see why it's important, but the court order was instructed because of Mark having a criminal record. I'm not sure what it's for, as Sarah has never directly told me and I didn't want to push her to tell me. Sarah already has a track record of lying and hiding things. I wouldn't expect her to be truthful about Mark's record. My verdict is NTA. Let's take the focus away from the result of the argument and focus it on the root cause. Sarah lied to OP's face and hid the fact that her ex was coming into their home without OP there after clear boundaries were set. OP's trust is broken. She had another man in his house 4 times when he wasn't there. There's no telling what could have happened. Comment your verdicts down below, and the overall judgment for OP was NTA, but a lot of comments are saying everyone sucks here or he's the a-hole. And we got some more info from OP. The reason the visitations are scheduled with Sarah or a police officer is because of Mark's record. I wasn't told specifics, but when Sarah and I were going over the visitations last year, Sarah brought it up fairly briefly. I always wondered what it was, but I didn't want to push my GF to talk about it if she didn't want to. She couldn't tell me to leave. My name is the only one on the lease. I'll only call it our apartment because that's what it was. We were all living there. But legally, mine was the only one on the lease and had been for years. As for traumatic for Nathan, he was pretty happy that he was going to see his grandparents, though I'm not entirely sure he realized they wouldn't be back. I work a job that requires me to fly out twice a month for a few days. Most of the time, these land during the weekdays, but unfortunately, the last few have been during weekends. My work trips are not scheduled by me. To keep it simple, at the start of month 1, my boss will send me an email telling me what days I'll be scheduled and where. Recently, however, it's mainly been on weekends rather than during the weekdays. At the start of month 1, I'd let my girlfriend know when I was working so we could figure out when Mark would come over. The last 2 trips only took up 2 weekends and left 6 available. And now a word from the community. You're the a-hole and I will tell you why. You are living with a woman I assume you care about and trust, yet you say her ex can't come pick up their child at your shared home. Does that mean that nobody can come visit her when you're not home? What if her son has a friend come over to play? Technically, it's her home as well. The fact that you threw her and her son out is just horrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. According to the court order, Mark is allowed to take Nathan out during his specified weekends as long as Sarah accompanies them. Of course, Sarah can invite other people over when I'm not there, but I don't trust Mark. Everyone sucks here. You're being an a-hole for saying that they can't have him over without you there. It's Sarah's home too, and she should be able to have over anyone she wants. You're an a-hole for kicking her and her kid out over this. That's an extremely shitty thing to do. Sarah is in the wrong for lying to you, telling her son to lie to you, and for going back on your agreement to only have Mark over when you were there without informing you. I'm not entirely sure if she told Nathan to lie for her, as he was at school the last time we had discussed it and he jumped to say something fairly quickly this time. You are tentatively the a-hole. This is not just your home, or it wasn't just your home. It was their home too. Nathan has a right to see his dad and Mark has a right to see his son, no matter how shitty he is. I have first-hand experience. If you have made a family home, you can't just demand things like it belongs to you. It sounds like everyone was trying to keep to your rules, then hid stuff from you because you're being an a-hole. I'm fully aware that it was our home, but it was solely mine before that. There was only one thing that I asked for when she moved in, and it was that I would be here while Mark was here. Everyone sucks here. You're the a-hole. You seem very controlling. Also, you have both lived in the apartment for over a year, which means it's both of your apartment now, and she does have a right to treat it like her home and not have to ask for your permission for everything. Also, the a-hole for kicking them out without trying to work on the relationship. I know she broke your trust, but to so easily kick her and her son, which you clearly don't care about too much, seems very harsh. She's also the a-hole because she should have spoken to you about wanting to change the original agreement, and it does seem weird that she was lying and hiding it so much, although since you are controlling in your reaction to it, maybe she was just scared. You both might be better off without each other, but I do feel sorry for the son, but you don't seem to miss him, so hopefully your ex finds someone who loves them both. Thank you for your input, but I feel the need to correct something quickly. Sarah has other people she brings over when I'm not there, and I'm completely fine with that. It's just that I don't like Mark, who has a criminal record, to be in my home with all my things while I'm not there. Don't get me wrong, I do miss Nathan. He's a very happy kid most of the time, but he's not mine. He didn't call me dad, a decision I respect, and we didn't have a super close bond either way. Legal word of warning, if you're in the UK, she could have been using you for the place. She can claim DV and change the locks and move in the ex, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. My landlord is a family friend and I'm fairly good friends with his son as well as a few of our neighbors. I've been living there the longest, so I'm not too worried about her claiming DV. I'm having someone come tomorrow to change the locks, and I've already asked my landlord if I can fix the camera on my door. Quick pause. Is it just me that finds it weird that people hire locksmiths to come change the locks? Changing out a lock is so simple. I've been doing it since I was a kid. It's not a hard thing to do. Is that just me though? Let me know down below. Final update. I know it's fairly early in the morning whilst I'm posting this, but I got off the phone with my ex and figured you all deserved an update. First off, I wanted to thank all of the feedback and comments I got on my post. I didn't think it would get that much attention, but here we are. There were a lot of different opinions on who was in the wrong, but after going over a ton of them, I realized I wasn't as non-a-holy as I thought. Now onto the update, as I'm sure that's what all of you came back for. It's not too exciting, so I'm sorry in advance. Firstly, on Monday, I had a locksmith come by in order to change the locks, which I got the go-ahead from my landlord, and I ordered a new door camera that should be coming in sometime next week. After that, I hadn't heard from my ex until Tuesday, when she called me from a number I didn't recognize, her mother's, in order to apologize. She started crying over the phone, begging me to take her back and that she made a mistake and how awful it was being back at her parents' house. She complained that everything was a mess and that there was a smell she hated. She even promised to never bring Mark over again as long as she could move back. I ended up telling her that she had lost my trust and that I wasn't going to move past this simply because she was having a difficult time at her parents' house. I told her this was her consequences for breaking the one thing I asked her to do when she moved in. When she realized I wasn't budging, it's like a flip had been switched. She started screaming at me, using lots of colorful language I won't be repeating here. Among the list of swears, she told me I had no right kicking her out of her home, that I was criticizing her as a parent, that I was manipulative and ignorant, and that nobody would ever love me because not even she loved me. Before she hung up, she told me she'd get me evicted and take my apartment from me. I blocked the number after. I ended up emailing my landlord in order to see if there was any way she could get me evicted. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my posts, but I've been pretty good friends with his son for a while. He ended up calling me and laughing about the whole situation, telling me that legally she has no ground to stand on since her name was never on the lease. According to him, she was simply a live-in guest until her name was added. Thank goodness it never was. Which brings us to earlier this morning, where my ex woke me up to call me, this time from her father's number, and repeated most of the things I listed above. Apparently, she had contacted my landlord and he had hung up on her. Thank you, David. By the end of it, I told her to stop contacting me and that we were over for good. I blocked her father's number as well. It's not the most exciting update as I said earlier, but it's what happened. Some people in the comments suggested I talk to my landlord, which is what I ended up doing, so thank you to those people. The way that flip switched and she said she never loved him. Maybe that comment about her using him for a place to stay was right. She could have said that in anger, but at the end of the day, she definitely didn't respect him. Terrible combo. But what did you think about this story? Comment your thoughts down below. And that's going to be all from me today. If you got to this point in the video, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.